Strive to Thrive 300 is about myths about anger. Now, granted, after doing this for 16 years, we know a lot of myths about anger. So we picked 5 that we think you might be interested in.
That's right.
And I'm going to start off with the first one, if you will. Here we go.
Okay, I'm listening.
Are you listening?
Uh-huh.
All right. It's my right to be as angry as I want to be. It's my right to be as angry. She's giving me the okay.
It is not your right to be as angry as you want to be.
Well, tell me more, wise one.
Well, when you're in relationships, when I think about people being as angry as they want to be, I think of the yellers and screamers. Because those are the only people I've ever heard that say, I have the right to be as angry as I want to be, as they point to me with their finger and they want to get in my face about they have this right.
But some people believe that if they've got that notion and it's in that energy's inside of them, that they have the permission to let it out.
And that's where they're wrong. There's nothing wrong with them being angry. They're wrong in that they believe that it's okay for them to violate other people's space, that it's okay for them to yell and scream and curse as a means to get their point across.
And that's the point we're trying to get at, because, our company Interventions is all about relationships. And when we talk about relationships, we're talking about two people that are attempting to get along and communicate in ways that are functional, not dysfunctional. And so you don't have the right to be angrier than is acceptable to your partner,
right?
And at some
otherwise you're emotionally abusing them.
Sure, absolutely.
Because it's emotional overuse. You're overusing your verbals and nonverbals to get your point of your anger across.
And that's what we like to teach.
You don't need to be that intense.
Guilt and shame. Guilt is you made a mistake. Shame is you are one. But what I want you to know is, you never have permission to be angrier or to experience intense emotions more than what's comfortable to your partner.
That's right.
More than what's effective towards just letting them know that there's some issue that needs to be resolved.
That's right.
I'm going to go on to number 2, and right here
Number
we go. Number 2. There's something wrong with people that get angry. There's something wrong with people, and I'm going to tell you, I've heard people say, "My God, she's a nut. My God, he's crazy." And when I ask why, they say because he's such a hothead. Now, it could be that they truly are.
Well, I've seen some of those. We call those trait angry people that have low impulse control, and again tend to yell and scream and get in your face. And again, there's still nothing wrong with people that get angry. We're all going to get angry. Right. Anger is actually okay. Anger is a feeling. Where we go wrong is, what do I do with this feeling that I have? What choices am I making? And when we make poor choices. Yeah. Now we have people that are upset with us. We have people that don't talk to us. We have the police rolling up to the situation to calm everything down.
And so it's not the experience of anger that's a problem. It's what you do with it, and that's what we kind of focus at our clinic when we work with people. Carrie's going to do the next one.
It is healthy to get stuff off my mind.
I wonder what she means by stuff.
Stuff. Stuff. The stuff I want to talk about, the stuff that's bothering me.
And the word by itself, we can't tell exactly what the stuff is.
No.
But I'll tell you, when your stuff is to evaluate or grade or criticize another person, then that stuff is, of course, it's unhealthy, and it causes payback. It causes retribution. So I would say it's not healthy.
It's not healthy when it's stuff indescript, and when you are evaluating the other person based upon your stuff.
Yeah. If we said it's healthy to get things in the open so that we might problem solve, then I would say we're heading in the right direction. I'm going to give you one more, and here we go, right? It's normal for kids to fight and get angry. Let them work it out. She doesn't like that one either.
I don't like that one either.
Okay.
I had a man in group last week who raised his hand. We were talking about values, and he says, I'm teaching my son that if somebody picks on him at school, he needs to pick back more so they never do it to him again. And I stopped in my tracks. I was standing in front of the group, and I stopped in my tracks and turned around and looked at him and said, Are you out of your mind? So I get this big eye, I get this big doe in the headlight look back like, well, what do you mean am I out of my mind? Are you crazy? You are an adult, and you are telling your son, how old is he? 13. Your 13-year-old son that it's okay to beat the crap out of another kid.
Well, obviously, the bad part here is that the other kid has been taught pride through submission, and that never works for long, does it?
No.
So the idea that kids don't have the wisdom, there are potentially problems that they can resolve at a level that is more appropriate. And sometimes the parent has to introduce that wisdom there. Because remember, as a parent, you're also a mentor.
Right, and that's where this guy's missing it. He wants to just teach his son to go out and do it and don't get me involved. Whereas, when there's something going on in the son's life at school, the son may be able to talk to the kid at his own level. But if it gets to where I need to talk to the teacher, I'm really having a hard time at school, we need to start getting adults around us involved. In
contrast to the advice you give to your son to don't take any crap for someone, can you imagine the doorbell rings and your son sees you go to the front door, and the next thing he sees is you're rolling in the front yard beating the crap out of the guy,
the kid's father, right? Who comes to the door,
told you, that you're ugly and tell you where to put your head, but obviously, we don't realize that this jockeying for position and status, especially for teens, is a part of their growth, part of that transitional growth as their hormones kick in, as they begin to develop this social status.
We have time for one more, don't we? Number 5?
We can if you want.
I have it. I said I was sorry. What more do you want? Mm-hmm. That's our 5th myth about anger.
I said I'm sorry. What more do you want? And I've even caught my son doing that with the kids in the neighborhood. He'll say, "Look, I said I'm sorry."
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it a lot. That's a myth, and it's not okay because we want to get off with not having to be accountable. I don't want to have to do anything, even though I hurt your feelings or violated your space or didn't do something that I told you that I would do. I just want to say I'm sorry and let's not talk about it anymore. And that's wrong.
And if you will, whenever there's the notion of I said I'm sorry, there's 2 things that we try to teach people that come through our clinic, the people that we work with. Number 1 is to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. And the second thing is, what do I do to make it up? And, for whatever it's worth, when we've used this in our own neighborhood with the kids in the neighborhood, and I've heard kids say, I said I'm sorry, we've stopped them to realize, if you will, that's not enough. Right. Now to make it up to them. And that accountability, see, honesty, I said I'm sorry. Accountability, what are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do about it?
That has just turned things around to where the kids really get along much better. Okay?
That's right. So there you have it. That's the end. The 5 myths about anger as the Strive to Thrive 300.
Just a reminder, our topic today is anger, and